have access to that throughout. What we're going to cover today is database and, most importantly, adding people to them. This is your real estate business. I guarantee you're going to come back to this business. This is exactly what Jackie and I do for our real estate business. Now, truthfully, this is our focus. This is the only thing we're focused on. We actually have two focuses. This is our only real estate related focus. And every single one of you is going to find that database is going to become very relevant in your real estate business if it isn't already. I use as an example all the time Deep, because he's right there top center. Deep, can I get a little hallelujah testimony as far as where does your business come from, sir?
Good morning. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
80% of the business is all referral. Whatever George is talking, it's exactly, I've been mastering it. I'm really slacking at it, but I keep on working at it every day.
Well, I appreciate that. Joe, do me a favor, drop in the chat box, if you would, the database class we did on like I think it was the 20th or something. It is also, just so you guys are aware, the database class that Joe's dropping, it's our YouTube, it's the link for the YouTube video that we did, just so you have access to it. It's on the syllabus I just put in there too. So Joe, thanks for putting it in there, and just keep dropping the database class, adding people syllabus and moving that forward. Also, if you wouldn't mind, go into the coming events. One of y'all, Tiffany, Joe, I want to get Chris Bear's event put in there. There is a build event, or excuse me, Chris Bear's, I think it's Rev Up is what it's called. Gene Frederick, Cliff Freeman's going to be, there's just so many good speakers. Brent Gove will be here. This is in the Orlando area. It is Friday and Saturday of this month, just like coming up shortly. We let the holidays get in and didn't mention it. I am absolutely going. This is all about real estate 101, the best practices, and the focus is on how to build your business. If you guys have a chance to join this, it's at the Rosen Shingle Creek. I think it's $139, $150 all in for 2 days. Highly suggest that. Joe, find that for me or get Tiffany to help, and let's drop that in there. I will be there for sure. If you've got it and it makes sense to you, go. You don't want to miss being in a room with these people. Let's get started. So here's the mission statement: to consistently add to our database through planned and scheduled actions, and to effortlessly increase our database through strategic additions. So we're going to talk about, the assumption is everybody has a database. Okay. Now, please hear this so clearly. If you have a database and you've got 25 people in there, that's a freaking great start. And that's all you need. You got 15 people. It's a great start. That's all you need. If you got 75 or 100, it's a great start. That's all you need. Are you starting to get the consistency here? It doesn't matter where you're at. What matters is that we get going. Now, we're going to cover some of the things we talked about in the previous class, which are really the three strategics, the strategic communicative styles and systems that we actually use. We're going to touch on those, but we're going to go into adding a new person to your database. This is somebody you meet at a school function, you meet on the golf course, you meet in a social event. It doesn't really matter where you are, but let's say you meet somebody and you're like, you know what, I like this person. You want to add them to your database, but the question is, how do I do it without seeming like a salesman? How do I do it without being kind of slimy? How do I start to foster and create a relationship? And that's really important. So who should go in your database? If you don't have a lot of people, put the people you already know. Put the people that you're already friends with, that you care about, that care about you. Somebody that passes what I call the restaurant or the grocery store test. That's if you see them and you're walking down the main aisle of the grocery store and you see them down an aisle, you got two options: either duck, run, and hide because you don't remember what their name, but they look familiar, or you walk up and you give them your name. If you walk up and give them your name and they know your name, you know their name, chances are they should be in your database. Now, the perfect scenario, if I could like wave a wand, I want somebody of influence in my database. I'd love to have a bartenders at Morton's in my database. Now, think about that. They speak to a lot of different people. They have a conversation. They're influential in what they do. And if they're in an area, we have a Morton's right down the street. If I had that bartender in my database and he was referring people to me saying, this is the best agent that I know of, this is who you want to talk to, that would be somebody I'd sure want in my database. I'd also want a friend that I met in school because our kids play together in my database. So it's going to be up to you who fits in there. But what I'm going to tell you is that this is going to be, as Deep had just said, it's 80% of your business if you've been in real estate for over 3 years. This is a relationship game. And what we're going to talk about today is relationships. If you can do it, as I said, please put your faces on. I need the energy. It makes a difference if I can see you. By the way, Kristen, Hannah, great to have you guys on the call. Glad you're here. Always nice to see you guys again. Kristen, thank you for the New Year's wishes. I appreciate that. But again, seriously, faces on if you can do it. Oh, look at that. There's Miss Kristen. Good to see you. And Hannah too. So we should just, hi, Rainey. How are you? We're going to call everybody out. Who else do we want to see if we can pressure into getting on the call? Let's see. Kathy, you're in Michigan. It's freaking cold. If you want to jump on there, it's good to see y'all. Thank you guys for putting your faces on. So jumping in, who should go in your database? I strongly suggest that you like the person you're interested in putting in your database. If you meet somebody and you have a connection with them, there's a really good chance that they're going to go in and you want them there. The first thing you want to do is obviously gather their contact information, but you can't do it kind of slimy wise. We're going to cover some strategies at which to go about doing that. I always get this, well, how many people? I've got 1,000 people in my database. Should they be there? No, what we're going to do today is we're really talking about our A group or our top group. That number should be anywhere from 5 people, which is a great start, up to about 150. And if you're getting pretty good at this, you can get it to 200. But I promise you, and fair warning, if you have 200 people in your database and you're communicating properly, you're probably going to have tax burdens, just so you all are aware, because the government will want a share of that $250,000. I'm just saying. So if you decide to build this to be pretty big, plan on having a responsibility to paying taxes on the money you're making. All right. I just need you guys aware. I don't want to surprise you when the government says, hey, I want $50,000 of your $250,000 income. It's a good problem to have. Everybody can do this. Your database needs to be as big as you want it to be. Start it off where it's manageable. We have systems in place that we can apply immediately to help you do this. That is part of the link. You'll see this on, let me share my screen real quick. On the syllabus, it's bouncing around in here. This is the previous database class. It's all housed in the YouTube channel, and we're literally just going down what's on here. Wanted to make sure you knew where that was. I'll go back to that in a couple minutes. So we're adding people to our database, and we need to know what our numbers are. By the way, the answer to too many is not, there isn't really one. Over 200 is probably not as manageable as you'd like it to be. Over 200 is absolutely doable, but you get into this point where you don't really have relationships. And that's important because people won't work with you unless they trust you, they trust the product, and they trust that you care about them and their well-being. Now, I use as an example, anybody here who's bought a car, I went to CarMax to buy a car. And the first time I went there, I flippin' knew they were trying to rip me off. I was positive of it. They were going to take my money. They were going to make me talk to the sales manager. It was going to be a bad experience. I did not trust them. I did not like them. And I knew that they had an adverse or a different intention than mine. I wanted to buy a car at the best price. They wanted me to pay the absolute most. Oh, don't even start by sending out the finance manager. I read about this. I know that's the real leader here. He's the guy that's the best salesman. The second time I went in and bought a car, I bought it at the same CarMax. The reason I did, I was in relationship with somebody who didn't screw me as much as I thought I would have gotten screwed. Sorry for the language, guys. And I said, I'm going to go back to him because I had a level of trust with him. I actually liked him, and I do like the CarMax product. Now, he's also followed up with me and still follows up with me to this day. And that was 7 years ago. Okay, this guy's a good salesman, but he's somebody that I trust and somebody that I genuinely like. I think he's a great guy. He actually just switched companies. I think he went to the pink one because he gave me an update on that. And I trust the product. I think it's a good product. Remember, by the way, this is important. Your product is not just you. Your product that they're looking at is your brokerage or your partnership or your business partners. Let's see, your team. That's part of your partnership. And we're going to come back to that because it's important for everybody on the call to remember that we have a forward-facing persona, that people are going to research us. So what we use our social media for, which is not a marketing strategy, but is to back up who we are, to validate who we are in the public's eye. Okay. Knowing your numbers. This is a lot of fun. I love this one. Y'all let this sink in. For every 10 people you know that are in your current database or that you have relationships with or that you're perhaps not following up with, which is what most people are doing, for every 10 of them, statistically, one is going to sell this year. So if you're not really following up with them, there's a really good chance that you don't have an opportunity to collect that sale. They're going to go with somebody else who is in their face, not so much aggressively, but is in their face as a friend, as somebody they trust and is in a relationship with. Chances are they're going to buy and sell with them, because realtors can't swing a cat without hitting a real estate agent. However, if you're in relationship with those people, for every 10 people you know, they know 10 people that are going to sell. They have that relationship. Sorry. So how it goes, they know somebody who's going to sell. That's what I meant to say. So you can focus your energies very casually on one person without doing anything, and you have a very small probability of getting that one sale. Or you can focus your energies on a person with a little more intention, so that you become the referral partner of their choice as well. And when somebody talks about real estate, you have a higher probability. It is much easier to leverage other people's relationships than to try and buy them. This is the least expensive, most efficient Zillow and open door killing tool you will have is your relationships. All of it is a relationship game. So knowing your numbers, if you're not following up with people, you have a possibility of them buying and selling with you, possibly. If you're on point, you're following up with them, you have a possibility of being a referral partner when somebody says who's the best agent. That has to be you. Now there's some people in excuse me, I'm just looking around and it's like, I'm new. You may be, but you're the tip of the spear. Remember, we are all partners in this. A lot of us share a commonality in our brokerage. We're all business partners. That means I'm your partner. That means you're my partner. That means Will Matthews is a partner. Tom's a partner. Tony, Fred, DeFalco, good to see you. Godfather, how are you? We're all business partners, every one of us. So remember, that's part of your persona. Okay. I covered about the trust factor, and I can't let that sink in. For people to work with you, for people to be comfortable with you, they have to trust you, they have to trust your product, and they have to know that you actually care about them. Let that sink in. You have to care about them. And a lot of that is done through actions. Caring isn't a wordsmith. And this is, you get this with your kids, you hear this with relationships. You can say, oh, I love you. But if you don't show it in actions, it doesn't matter. It's all here. It's all jibber jabber. It doesn't make sense. Folks, you're going to have to put into actions on that. So we're going to talk about the time frame. What does it look like? If you're managing your database well, you're going to spend anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours a day maximum working on your database. Y'all hear that? 30 minutes to 2 hours a day. If you have 5 people in your data, or 15 people, let's say 28 people in your database, you're going to spend at a maximum 15 minutes. If you have 100 people in your database, you spend maybe, Todd, good to see you, boy. I got to call you later. How are you, man? I just saw your name pop up on there. I'll give you a shout when we're done. I wanted to hang or catch up with you, see what you're doing. Sorry about that, guys. That's a squirrel just ran on by. If you've got that many people in your database, you're only going to invest about 30 minutes worth of time with them. And that's covered in the database classes. What do we do? How do we communicate? If you've got 200 people, you're going to have to spend about 2 hours on your database. That's okay. Remember, you're going to have a burden of $250,000 to $500,000 in income tax you're going to have to pay if you've got that many people that you're managing at a high level. I wish that problem upon you. You're also going to have to spend anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half every month, usually on the first of the month, as something that's scheduled for you to be doing. And that falls into our ongoing communication, which is our updates about ourselves, as well as our evidence of success just listed postcards. It takes realistically about an hour to do that once a month and communicate to everybody in your database. And you're going to have to spend on average 1 hour per day, 1 week of the month. So we're 5 hours. Realistically. And that's on micro parties, and that's part of your database. The whole idea is that you are extraordinarily present, active, and available for real estate, for friendship, for support, for your database, the people you know. Hi, Deb. I saw her walk in there. I did, Todd. I just saw her walk in and say hi. That's our mission. That's our goal, so that we can do that. So that's the time you're looking at. It's about 30 minutes to 2 hours maximum. I'd really say realistically about an hour per day per people, about an hour to an hour and a half per month. And once a month, you're going to have to invest 1 hour a day for 5 days in planning a micro party and following up on that. That's all part of database management. What we want to do is we're going to add people to our database. So this goes down to the meeting. Does anybody here, for the people that I can see, raise your hand. Does anybody know what the Ford method of communication is? Anybody ever heard of that before? All right, a couple of y'all have. Terrific. I think this is probably the most powerful social communication. Ford it stands for Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Dreams, and it's what the conversations go to. So in this syllabus that we have, and I'm not going to dive into it too deep because I want to keep you guys, I want to keep this moving. You'll notice that this is highlighted. If you click on this, it's going to pull up a Ford an example, and that's a Word document that hopefully will open up. There we go. And this talks about family. It says, here are some questions you can try, family questions to avoid, occupations covered in here, recreation, and database. Folks, it's a great idea for you to have this in your wheelhouse, to have a good understanding of what you're going to do with this when you're talking to them. The Ford method is an extremely efficient method of having conversations. LP Mama is great, but that's used when you're qualifying. This is relationship. Ask them question. If it is a man, default to their business. If it is a woman, please default to their family. Now, that is a gross generalization. But if you have no other way, I will tell you that men, unfortunately, we measure ourselves by work. Women, a lot of times, measure themselves by their family. That would be a default, but use your best judgment. Don't just be generic, because that's just doesn't work. But if you're not really sure what to say, ask them about the family or their occupation. Those are the two triggers that are going to be out there. I want you to do this. I want you to ask them for a business card. Now, the reason we do that is the business card comes with a ton of information. You have their email address, you have their phone number, usually their cell is on there, you have their title, you have information in which to put them into your database. So if they have a business card, terrific, but a lot of times they won't have one, and that's totally cool. By the way, when you're asking for your business card, if you're not sure, so what do you do? And they tell you what they do. So, oh my God, do you have a business card? The logical thing for us to say is, I sell a fair amount of property, and I'd love to be able to refer somebody to you if it is applicable. It's a great way at which to go about doing so. And remember, in our conversations, as you're meeting somebody, if you're interested and you're on point, you can go to a dinner function or anything else and probably add 5 people to your database inside of about an hour. So the growth of it is up to what you choose to do. We covered this yesterday in the class. I thought it was really inspirational and absolutely on point. You can add 10 to 15 people into your database doing open houses. I love it. It's a phenomenal feeder for database. We covered that yesterday. Thank you, Max. For anybody that doesn't remember Max's birthday, Max Wordlaw's birthday was yesterday. So blow him up. If we can put his phone number in there so everybody can send him a late happy birthday just to explode his phone. So ask them for their business card if you can do it. This is all about complimenting. It's about mirror and matching. And here's the thing. Don't stay too long. Get interested in them. Ask them about them. Ask them questions. Don't talk about yourself, except for short. I'm blessed. I've got a great family, whatever the case may be. But get back to them. Get back to the Ford, asking them about what they're doing. If there's something that they're passionate about, like for me, if somebody talks about real estate, they start asking me about real estate. I'm going to go on and on and on. Let them go on and on and on. That's something that makes them happy. We are on point. Thank you very much for doing that, Tiffany. We are on point here. We are actively trying to add somebody to our database, our sphere of influence, our centers of influence. We're trying to do that because we want to stay in contact, because we want to be the logical choice for somebody that they would refer, or when they want to buy and sell. And by doing so, we have to first care about them, which means you better like them first. We have to second have a level of trust. They have to trust the fact that we're integrity based, and they also have to trust our business. So we're going to do a lot of things on the side that make that happen. But you are not a secret agent. You've got to get out there with these people. You've got to have these conversations, and you're going to have to build your database. All right. Once you gather their information, I would strongly suggest, actually insist, that you immediately enter them into your database, whatever that may be. So I always put mine in, because in my database, I use KV Core. I have an option between buyer, seller, agent, vendor, and all, I think it is. I always put them in as a seller, because I'm always focusing my energies externally on seller information. So I want to perhaps suggest that if you're using KV Core, you put them in as a seller, and I enter them in on my phone. Now in there's a notes section. I'm going to literally press the voice dictator, and I am going to go on for about a minute and download every single thing I can remember about that conversation. I'm going to put their phone number in there. I'm going to do, if I have their email, if I've got everything else, I'm going to fill that in to the very best of my ability. And then I'm going to apply an action plan. And today's conversation is, what is that action plan? How do we engage with the people that we're wanting to add to our database. I'm comfortable with every single person on this call having a conversation with somebody they've just met and asking them about them, and then mirror and matching. Oh my God, that's really, really cool. And I'm into cars. Really? What do you, oh, that's amazing. Wow. Tell me more about that. Being interested in somebody, meeting somebody new that's a friend of yours. Every one of us can do it. Now, what do we do when we're done with that? After we've met it, we're like, that's somebody I want to stay in contact with. Put them in your database right away. We just covered that. Make sure that you put them in a nomenclature as new, whatever the case may be. Stick around after the bulk of the call. I'm going to open up my database, show you kind of how to do that. And there's actually a video to do that as well that kind of walks you through what's needed. You may not have an email. You may not have an address. More likely than not, you're going to have a phone number. And if they don't give you the phone number, they're probably not right. Hey, what's your phone number? Love to keep in touch. If I can refer somebody to you. What's your phone number? If there's something going on in the school, I want to make sure that you have my information so that we can touch base on it. If you're talking about children in school, it doesn't matter what's the commonality. And if you don't mind, get me a phone number, or better yet, business card. No, how about your best phone number so I can keep in touch if it's something that, and remember, we're talking about them. If it's, I use Todd just for example. I said, Todd, I know you're really, really into guns. Way to go, Todd. No, you are. There's gun shows coming up. I'd love to keep in touch with you because I'm always looking to buy the right one, and I'm not 100% as strong as you are. Can I get your phone number so that we can stay in touch on that? He's going to say, of course. Yeah, of course you can. That's not a problem. You find their commonality and have that conversation. This is for a very specific person. I'm not going to call Rainey out on this, but for anybody else in the Orlando market as well, just a sidebar here. 9:30 is the state meeting, the Florida state meeting, if you're in Florida. And quite honestly, most importantly, Rainey's new to us. Congratulations, Rainey. We're glad you're here. Miss Christie brought you on board. At 10 o'clock, you have the new agent orientation. And that is done for the Florida group, or for anybody in Florida. That's for Florida, and that's why I'm bringing it up. Sorry, that was the squirrel that ran by the stage. All right, so let's get into the action plan. How to put people and add people to your database. Should you be interested in doing so, and you bloody well better be, there is a short tutorial right here at the very top under the start, which is called the action plan. It's inside of here, and it shows exactly how to do it. I'm going to do that live as well when we're done, after we are finished with the bulk of this, so we can continue to move on it. But that is an example of what to do. So, well, I'm going to go back to sharing because this is really the nuts and bolts of the entire conversation. This is the action plan that I would strongly encourage. Now, this is my version of it. I would love for you to have your version, or perhaps make it even better. But there's some things in here, and I'll bring them up, that I want you to focus on, and I want you to remember to keep in place, because there is some strategies behind it. So I've received this person's information. And for our conversation, let's say I met them at a social event and I grabbed their phone number or their business card. After the very first day, this is part of the action plan. I'm going to apply the action plan to them as soon as I get it. And tomorrow I'm going to start. This is what the action plan looks like. I'm going to text them something about the meeting event, compliment or flatter them without too much sugar. And if appropriate, comment on their business or their interest. That's a text from my cell phone. This is a task that shows up in my to-do list from my database, or from my CRM, which is KV Core, because it's free for me and for a lot of our partners. So that's going to show up as my task in the morning. This is important. I have this conversation with most people. I had it with Tom Martin, Tom McNamara. Tom's Will and I have spoken about this on many times. What I would encourage you to do is not to have a memory. I would encourage you to rely on your to-do list that shows up on your phone. I would encourage you to have a mechanism of what needs to be accomplished on a daily basis that you default to. A lot will choose your calendar. Totally cool with that. But whatever it is, something has to tell you what to do. You have other skill sets besides keeping yourself in order and what you're supposed to do. If you don't have an assistant and you're trying to remember what you're supposed to do, you are an assistant. Every one of you has the potential for a far greater income. Have your tools, have your database, have your calendar, have your whatever it is you use. Keep track of what you must do and just Forrest Gump it. Do your job. Okay? If you do that, you're going to miss sometimes. I get that. But you're going to be far more consistent long-term, and consistency is going to win the game here. All right. We'll go back to sharing. We're going to go through this so you guys can see it. This is available for you, how to copy and paste it in. Everything is explained right up here in the screenshot. So my task for day one, I'm going to text that person something about the meeting, compliment them, flatter them. Day one, I'm going to friend request them on Facebook, Instagram, or anything else like that, and just go through their information. And if you see something, maybe put a like in there at the most. Don't make comments. It's a little too creepy at this point. Okay, but just friend request them if you're not already a friend. I would also encourage you to research them in the MLS, the tax records, Spokio, wherever it is, and find out where they live if you can find it. We're trying to gain information here and start the relationship. Now, if they reply to your text and you had a very good conversation with them previously, you may get into a pretty heavy conversation right now and start doing some of the next steps, the different day steps earlier. But if it's not something where they reply back and you're really engaged right now and they reply, please do me a favor. This is neuro-linguistic programming. Don't reply back immediately. If they reply back and it's like an hour later, don't reply back immediately. I want you to hold that reply until the following day. And there's strategy behind that. Here's why. They reply back immediately. It's kind of wanting. Has anybody been in a dating environment where you text somebody and if they text back immediately, you know that they're interested and that they're really, you've got the lead. But if you wait a little while, you're not really sure. And the person on the receiving end is like, yeah, okay, cool. We're friends. It's the same thing. Okay. This isn't dating, but it is courtship for some reason. We're going to research them in the MLS because we're looking for their address. There are three fundamental things that need to happen in your database. This is a really good time at which to bring it up for everybody. Number one, I think that you need to communicate with them in no way or no questions asked at least once a month in some form of back and forth level of communication. I promise you, posting something on a post that they put on Facebook and say, oh my God, that's really cool that you did that, is not communicating. Communicating is usually picking up the phone, having a conversation about them, focused on them, usually taking information from something you've seen or something you've talked about, or perhaps those notes you put in the first time you met them, and talking about something that's of interest to them and being genuinely interested in them. Okay, this is challenging, folks. It is very difficult to have conversations about somebody else and not bring yourself into it. You are not the topic, they are. And I guarantee you, if you have a 30-minute conversation with somebody and you don't come up and you specifically talk about them, even for 5 minutes, they're going to go, wow, that was really a good conversation. These people are fascinating. I did it with Styella when she was over at the house having dinner one night. And it's amazing how nice it feels to have people interested in you. That's your job in your conversation, to be interested in them, to build them up, to let them know that you care. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to send something of evidence of success. That's a monthly postcard. And that monthly postcard says, I just sold another home. And that's it. That's all it says. Okay. The template for that postcard is actually in the database class, which is in the syllabus that's here right now. Folks, that postcard is about the only thing that you're going to or to them directly until you're deep into relationship. That's the only thing you're going to put out there that talks about selling homes. They'll see the other part because it's available on your social media. Here's a social media link, by the way. 4 things that are personal, or let's go with a minimum standard. 2 that are personal, 1 that's humor, and 1 is evidence of success. So when you think about your social media posts, you can post a lot more of any one thing or another. But it's minimum standard. You want 2 personal, and you want the weight something like this: 2 personal, 1 humor, or 3 personal, no humor, and 1 evidence of success. You should not post more than a 3-to-1 ratio, and preferably it's a 4-to-1 ratio. Personal, who you are, defining you, because you're the relationship, to business. Don't do all, we sold another home, I just did this, I just did this, I just did this. Damn. I did post this out there because I thought it was fantastic. And for everybody here, we broke $1 billion, the GPS group, $1 billion in real estate sales in 2021. Almost 5,000 units sold. That's crazy. That is like massively crazy. Congratulations to every one of you guys on that. You deserve it. All right. So let's go back to sharing this. We're going to click on day 2. Remember, these are all available. You can copy and paste them, build this out yourself. Day 2, if you have not already, reply back to them in text. And if no reply, send an additional text along the same line. So you're going to continue to follow up in text and then see if they reply. If they do, feel free to reply with them. If they've replied to your friend request, comment on something cool in their timeline and send them a Facebook message about it as well. Facebook believes that if you message back and forth and they reply back to it, that you guys are friends. What you're doing is you're setting up two different communication lines. One is I can text you. The other is I can Facebook message you. So you're going to comment on something cool and then comment to them in a private message. I didn't want to put this out there, but oh my God, I can't believe you bungee jumped. That is crazy. What are you, psychotic or something? Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. We're starting to create conversations and lines of communication. Now, at this point, they're in your database, and all of them, because they're going in, they're going to be a new person in your database. They're going through the action plan right now, what's called a campaign. But they also need to be hashtag centers of influence, because they fall under the umbrella of these people are going to fall into your main center of influence actions. You'll see what that means in just a couple seconds. All right. Day 7. The template's name is CO. They're all built exactly the same way as COI10. And the task, call them with, I really enjoyed last week, call and comment on something they're doing or involved in on social media, compliment that. And if you don't have the answer, and if they don't reply to the initial text and don't answer, then send them a text that goes something like this. Hi, Bonnie, I just left you a voicemail. And then when you leave them a voicemail, the voicemail is something to this degree. Remember, in this case, we've just identified they haven't replied to the text. They haven't replied to the initial comment that we had in here. And I'm going to leave them a voicemail. So I send them a text at this point that says, hey, Bonnie, I just left you a voicemail. And the voicemail would be something like this. Bonnie, my God, it was really nice meeting you. I was really intrigued by what you guys are doing as far as your woodworking and XYZ, whatever the notes come from. And I just wanted you to know that that's pretty cool. Keep me informed of what's happening because I'm interested. Something nice, something friendly, something engaging. We're trying to elicit communication. And then once communication is established, remember this, it is all about them. Please, Tony DeFalco told me this. I wrote it down. Do not sell in discovery. And consider that we are in discovery realistically for the first 30 to 60 days. There's no selling involved. If they ask you about real estate, it's phenomenal. I love what I do. Tell me more about the woodworking. It is important that you are not trying to sell, because in sales, you are no longer trustworthy. We are first establishing a relationship. It is the most fundamentally important. For some of you out there that are thinking about this, make sure you're clear. This doesn't happen overnight. This is a long game that will support your real estate business forever. Most people don't get into this and don't practice this until their second or third year. And they do it by accident and they don't do it well. I'm challenging you to be great at that and make this one of your pillars. Remember, I say this all the time. You should have two areas at which you're focusing, and this is your lead generation strategies, these two. If you're good at what you're doing on these two, you can add a third. Okay, that's if you're individual. If you've got a team, it's a different leveraging structure. But bottom line is you need to have two. I would challenge that this needs to be one of them. This is a little more long-term, but it absolutely, without question, is going to be part of your business, whether you want it to be or not. It is minimum, no questions asked, going to happen. Pick something that's a right now business too. We'll cover that later, and we cover that in lead generation classes. All right, on to day 10. If you do not have their email, text and ask them their email. Here's an example of it. Hi, I want to get your personal email because I want to send you over something I think you'll like, enjoy, find interesting. Would you mind sharing it with me? Now, here's the reason it's written like that, and this is some NLP. If I say, hey, listen, can I have your email? You have a 50-50 shot at best of getting that email. If you say, I wanted to get your personal email because there's a reason behind it, that reason alone will work better. This is an experiment that was done. I want you guys to clearly get this. If I can support what I'm doing by that, you have a higher probability of success with it. There was a lady that asked somebody, said, hey, can you watch my bag? It's right here. And it was sitting on a bench. She said, can you watch that bag? I've got to run real quick. I'll be right back. 50% of the time they said, no, not at all. Can you watch that bag? Because I've got to run to the store over there and grab something from it real quick, and I'll be back in just a minute. 96% of them watched that bag because she gave a reason. There was a judgment. So if you give them a reason for why you're asking, you have a higher probability of them actually acknowledging and, quite honestly, responding appropriately. So in this one, do me a favor, please don't change the text in this under day 10. Give them the reason why, but mind sharing it with, and then ask them why you're sharing with them. It's important to give the reason. This is what we said. It increases by 60%. Send them something of value. What can I send them? Well, something of value can be something as simple as a gift certificate that is floating around on the internet. It may be something about what's going on in the current world. It doesn't matter. It's relevant to you. I always look for things of value so I can send them out to my entire database. And we're going to cover that on keeping the community side of it as well. But I think that if you put your mind to it and you said, my only stumbling block is I don't have a thing of value to send them, I'm pretty sure you can figure out what to send them. On day 14, this is social media time. Get into their social media and find a common denominator. Post of it. Look for and like and reply and act as you should to their social media. What can I do to get further engaged socially with them? What is it they like? Now, here's something of interest. And I'm going to cover this. Remember social media, because that's what day 21 is. Now, at this point, you should have their email. You should also have their address. I think I covered in here earlier about getting their address. My conversation with people, once I'm in relationship, you can usually search people and find them that way. If I'm going through the next month and I don't have their address for whatever reason, and I'm going on, and Bonnie, you're up on top of head. So I mean, up on the top of the screen. So I'm going to use you. I would call up Bonnie on my monthly phone call to her, because Bonnie's literally still hashtag 14. That's when I should be calling her. I'd call her on the 14th of each month. And the conversation in there said, Bonnie, you know what? Jackie challenged me to be better at Christmas cards because we got a bunch, but we didn't send as many out. I need your address. I need to make sure you're on your Christmas card list. Please get me off the hook with my wife. May I please have it? Who the heck is going to say no to that? Now you can get their address, and it's something as simple as that. Or I've got something I want to mail to you. Or what is your address? I want to send something to you. It's important to me that I get this to you, and it's got to go through regular mail. Would you mind sharing your address? So I asked what I needed. I gave the reason I gave a supporting reason for it, and then I asked for it again. That's the 3 stages of the question. There's no way Bonnie can say no. I have a 96% chance that she's going to be like, yeah, here it is. I don't even have to tell her what it is. What is it? It's a surprise. What it probably is something as simple as a note that said, Bonnie, I had the best time talking to you. It's amazing how cool your XYZ is. Okay. So now back to where we're at. Sorry, jumping off all over the place. You should have their email and their address. Think of what they like, what they're interested in. Remember the social media? We went through it. We're digging in. Create a hashtag for that interest. An example would be golf, elementary school. It does not matter. You can have as many hashtags as you possibly want attached to somebody, or tags, depending on your CRM. I'm a golf guy. I love golf. I'm fanatical about it. So if I talk to somebody, they're interested in golf, I want to give them the hashtag golf interest. And here's why. If I come across something cool, I can search golf interest by that hashtag and pull up 10 people who are interested in golf. And I'm going to send them an article or a meme or something that I think was funny. I say, oh, you got to check this out. This made me laugh. Now that's a relationship stuff, but I need to know their interests. So dig into their social media. And when you find what it is, create a hashtag. If it's golf, if you met them at the elementary school, because there's a mixer and it's get to meet the parents and you like them, then you're going to put down Wilmot Elementary or whatever that would be. The idea is to have something that you can, you make the groups a little bit smaller, a little more palatable. So as you run across something of interest, remember 30 minutes to 2 hours a day. Maximum is really going to be about an hour for most. But what did I find that's cool? What can I send out to a small segment group? I would strongly encourage you to have zip codes included in here. I put this down at the bottom. I want you to get the idea or get reason why. I live in the Dr. Phillips area of my town, the greater part of the Orlando area. And right next to us is a smaller town called Windermere, who does the food trucks every Friday at 4. And one of the great conversations to have is on that Wednesday to anybody that's the zip codes in that one, the Winter Garden zip code, which is the surrounding communities, is, hey, don't forget the food trucks are coming. I love Monster Lobster. You'll see me there. We're probably going to grab a table and hang out for a while. So I hope I can see you there. Simple as that. It's just a public service announcement, but that's important. And I can do it by zip code. It doesn't matter if they're a buyer, a seller, and somebody I'm working with currently. It's part of my database. If they're in my database and they live in that zip code, I'm going to communicate with them, and I can do it by writing one email or one group message to them. And I want you to consider that your hashtags give you that ability. Okay. When you run across a Gulf, I just covered this part. So here's a summary. The following week, they fall off of this. They're in our regular rotation. I'm going to turn this off for a second. Think about this. We already have a strategy put into place. If you watch that, the first training that we did, the mastermind we were doing on how to build your database. And the simple function of all this is everybody that's in your database, these are your A-list, your top people, the one we're really going to communicate with. We're going to give them a hashtag called COI. So in this sack of COI, we've got 200 or 100 names. Think of it as a pillowcase with everybody falls into that pillowcase. Well, that's a little big to handle. However, if we wanted to send out a mass email, or we wanted to download those 100 names and then send that over to amplifiedmail.com for our postcards, this is all taught, and everything I just said is in the database class. I could send a postcard out to 100 people, and it'd take me no more than 20 minutes to do so. I can send an email out to this 100 people. It'll take me 5 to 10 minutes. By the way, both of those are what that 1 hour a month was all about on the first of the month. But you have to have them organized right. Now, but if I dumped out that 100 people out of that pillowcase and ran them across my desk, I got a lot of people on my desk. I need to have this in bite-sized pieces. I need to break this down. And the way to do that is you break that down into small individual equal groups. And a group would be a hashtag COI or one COI or hashtag Sue. What we're doing is we're breaking them down into 28 bite-sized pieces, which correspond with the exact number of days in every single month. Today is the 4th. So I will be calling hashtag 4COI. I have 4 people, I think, and I'll show you what I have. These are the people that I communicate with on the 4th. Everybody that we just built, that we just brought into our database after 21 days, automatically has the hashtag from the start, COI. But if we don't have their email, they're not going to get the email. If we don't have their postcard, they're not going to get the postcard. Oh, sorry, we don't have their address, they're not going to get the postcard. Again, there's more there. All of my people that are in my database are hashtag COI. They're also hashtag day of the month, COI, and they're also hashtag monthly postcard. So they fall into these 3 different brackets, so I can sort them very efficiently. And I can also help manage them efficiently. That's part of the database class. I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm going to go back to sharing this, and we're going to wrap this up. This will at least give you a good start. Now, they already fall into the rotation of all these conversations we're going to have. I wanted to break this down and show you what those conversations look like and how many times we communicate with our database. Once they're through 21 days, you should have pretty much all of their information, their email, their address, because you want to send them something special, which might just be a handwritten thank you note, or it might be something different you're going to drop in the mail for them. Doesn't matter. But now you have them. So we can send them a bulk email update about you, which is one of the things we do. This is the update email. We're going to call them once a month or communicate, have an ongoing back and forth communication at a minimum once a month. And for me, it's triggered up. Today is the 4th. I'm going to start those conversations for this round with anybody that's hashtag COI4. When we're done, I'll show you how that looks. And I'm going to send out postcards at the 1st of the month. Joe, I'll send it to you today, I promise. And those postcards are evidence of success. So this is 36 contacts. If they're brand new, they're getting an additional 10 contacts. That's 46. If you do the micro parties, and I strongly encourage to make this a part of your business model, it is fun, it is easy, it's free. Your vendor pays for it, and it creates amazing relationships. And the party isn't the purpose. The purpose is the invitation and the conversations that you want to include them because they're special. Well, micro parties we'll cover. That's actually the next class, Joe. So you can put that down. It's going to be micro parties. We're going to do that next Tuesday. The micro parties add 7 touches a year. The social media is anywhere from 8 to 20 different touches. Random humor postcards. For everybody out there, March 22nd is National Goof Off Day. Get a picture of somebody chilling the heck out, create a postcard through Canva, and send it out to everybody in your database with it saying, National Goof Off Day is the 22nd of March. Get started early. You have my permission. Hope you have an amazing month. That's a fun, it's got to have a funny picture on it though. But why wouldn't we do that? Special contacts, special things like regarding them. If they're, let's say they're hashtagged as golf, they're going to get additional conversation or additional communications from me. In here, we have roughly 50 contacts on a regular basis, on an annual basis. And it won't take you more than a half an hour to 2 hours a day, an hour to an hour and a half a month. And then 1 week a month, whatever your micro party is, it's going to take you about 5 hours, about an hour every day. 2 days before, 2 days after, and an hour or two at the party. That's 50. Martin, if you're able to, Tom, unmute your mic because you know these numbers better than anybody. If he doesn't in just a second, I will. Tom, if I were to contact everybody just 36 times, if I had conversations with people intelligently 36 times, hold on before you answer this, I'm going to get certain results. If we push that number up to about 50, could I expect my results to increase as well? And what are the numbers for every 100 people, let's say every 10 people that I'm doing this with for 36 communications?
Yeah, if you're doing 36 communications annually, you're guaranteed one sale from per 10. Now that's a sale. Now that's not for everyone that you do contact. Make sure you ask for a referral as well, so that.
So he's breaking up a little bit. Tom, I'm going to finish the thought for you because you're in a spot that's kind of going back and forth. So let's do this. I hate to do it. I'm gonna beat him up. Joe, do me a favor. Let's mute Tom. Tom, you're really breaking up, buddy. So I think we just lost him. So we're good. Guys, how it works, and these are numbers that we figured out a long time ago. If you have 12 people in your database, for every 12 people, you're going to get one referral and you're going to get one sale. That's the numbers that we figured out years and years ago. I use 10 because it works fairly well. It's a little easier. Let's say for every 10, you're going to get one. If you contact with them 36 times, you're going to get a heck of a lot more than just one, probably about 1.5 to 2 for 10. If you're communicating from 36 and you bump it up to 50, this is a friendship. This is an engagement with somebody, but it's on purpose. And most importantly, it takes you out of the thought process. Every one of you that I can see the picture of, except for Aletha, because I'm not going to throw her under the bus, but everybody else is not smart enough to remember exactly what to do. You don't have the capability. I love how your title is, Aletha. I think that's brilliant. Mrs. Roper. So listen, you can't do that efficiently and effectively in a long time frame over time on task over time. You can't do that if you try and keep it in your brain. It's got to be in a system. It's got to be duplicatable. You've got to be able to just say, what am I going to do today? Go, boom, look at that and say, okay, I know what I'm going to do today. If you're trying to create what you're going to do today or pull off your to-do list, you're probably not at your maximum capability. You all get that. None of you, except for one person, it's you, that's right, is smart enough to do this in their head. Everybody else, you ain't got it. It's got to be a system. It has to be duplicatable for you, and success will come your way. Now, I say this all the time, but let's start off the year properly. Time on task over time. This isn't going to be an overnight success. We're like, oh my God, look at this, it's great. You know what? It can happen though. It can be right away. It's like somebody calls up, say, hey, I got your card. That's awesome. Thanks for the email. I got somebody that needs to sell a home. I was going to refer you over to him. Terrific. Thank you very much. Do you know what you pay on referrals? DeFalco, if you got a chance, Tony D, if you got a chance, I'm going to tee you up, brother, if you're able to do it. Do you know what you pay on referrals to the people that are in your database financially? How much you actually pay them in a referral? Nothing. But
yeah, nothing. Just attention. You pay attention.
But Tony, you said something to me that inspired me. If you're getting somebody that refers somebody to you and that referral, let's say, does not close. Okay, that's totally cool. Tony, should you just ignore them because it didn't close, or upon referral, should you reward the action?
Immediately when the referral is given, send it out. That's the only legal way to do it, because if the contract's already written and then you're sending something, you're actually breaking the law. But if they're giving you a referral and you immediately send them something out, a Starbucks card, movie tickets, whatever it may be, then that's the legal way to do it, and it's the right way to do it.
Outstanding.
But the only thing it costs you, the only thing you have to pay is attention. Pay attention. That's it. Nothing more.
So I had somebody, Tony, thank you very much. It was just, Tony had an entire session on that was absolutely inspirational. And some of the things were like, just, I love how he focuses the energy on the people that are the clients, or in this case, his attention. Somebody brought up to me, said, and I want to ask you guys a question on this one. Or they were asking the question, said, if somebody's referring a couple people to you a year, would you send their family on a cruise? I said, no, why would I do that? He goes, I want you to think about this. If they're referring 3 people a year to you, and let's say you close 66% or 2 of them, why wouldn't you send their family on a weekend cruise? It's going to cost you maybe $1,000. But what about the return on that investment? Do you think they're going to remember now? They've already proven they're good at this. Investing $1,000 or a gift certificate for dinner somewhere, or something that's a little bit above what would be the norm, wouldn't that make them feel amazing and want them to do it? I would gladly do that. My referral fees, because the average commission is around 10,000, are usually $3,000. $1,000's cheap, and I got 2 transactions from them. I love what Tony said. Support them when they refer somebody to you, because that's what we're doing. Make a big deal over it. Hand deliver a little basket or something, particularly if you feel they have potential. The $5 card, terrific. And beforehand, as Tony brought out, is good. And I think that's nationwide stats. By the way, 926 specific somewhere in here, Rainey's in here. If you've got to do it, the Florida State meeting is starting. Y'all check your calendars. I happen to know Florida because I live here. And most importantly, at 10 o'clock, Rainey, you're going to definitely need to be in the orientation. I would encourage that if she's available, get Christy, have her join you in the orientation as well, as you're being new. And welcome aboard. We're glad you're here.
George.
Yeah.
Can I share something? So please. Today's meeting, amazing, guys. I need to do this as well. I'm the guy that thinks that he can remember to stay in contact with everyone. And I'm disciplined to build my database out the right way with the hashtags, as George has taught for 3 years now. I'm the idiot that took 3 years to listen to this guy. It really does work, and my production would be increased massively because it's systematic. But guys, George said, talk about them, which is absolutely correct. But try to find something in common that you're actually interested in before asking them. Like if George was a sailor and he sailed, and I asked him about sailing and I have no interest in sailing, George could go on for 30 minutes about sailing, how the winds break, how this, your eyes are going to roll in the back of your head and they're going to see that. They're going to see that you're not authentic. So try to find something in common that you can ask about that you're really interested in, or try to become interested in it, because they're going to read on your face if you're not authentic during this process.
100%. I appreciate that very much, Tony. I don't know if I can do this. Damn, no, I can't. All right. So I'm unable to share what I want to share with you guys. This is right now, what we covered right now. Let me get out of this thing. This is how to manage your database. Now it's in here, and it's database class, adding people. That's what the Word document is. And everything in here is covered. I want to show you how to do that. That's it, by the way. That's the class in a nutshell. We're here. Anybody's bored, you want to get out of here, go for it. I'm going to show you how to create these templates real quick and how to add them to our software, which is KV Core. And then you could literally copy and paste. So if you're interested in applying this to the new agents, and if you're interested in learning the very, very easy and efficient way at which to go about doing it, stick around, because that's coming up right now. I guess I should ask beforehand, any questions, anything that I brought up that we want to cover before I share this stuff?
Hey, George.
Hey, Claire.
How are you? Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year.
So I just wanted to share with you that all of the stuff that you have been stating is absolutely accurate. And when you are doing this on a daily basis, like it was taking me only an hour and a half to get through all of this, write all the personal notes, it led to revenue of over $250,000. And when you're stroking a check to the IRS, you know, for a quarterly at $27,000, and you're just stroking the check and it meant nothing, it was like wonderful to be able to pay that. Y'all, it is phenomenal what you can do when you're pouring that money back into the people that are around you and the lives around you. I can't encourage y'all enough. That spot on. Thank you, George, for putting us all in a template and allowing us to look at our tools that we have within our company to move this forward in a major direction. It does not take that much effort to be an authentic person to care about people. And I love the way George said, stop being a salesperson. You're not. This is a relationship, business to business or friend to friend. And I just, in 2019, I did not make all of my phone calls. However, the year previous, I had closed probably about 15 million, nothing major. The next year, because I didn't make any phone calls because I was taking care of family members, I still closed business because my phone was ringing off the hook. Come list me, or I need to buy a home now. So this stuff works automatically when you put it in place. And thank you, George, so much for putting it in a template, giving us the directions. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Claire. Thank you very much. All right, I want to jump into the database and or how to put this template into place. So I'm going to share my screen as normal, and let's get started. This is my KV core. Can y'all see that? Anybody that's got, give me a thumbs up if you can see it. I can only see Deep and Claire. We're good? All right, cool. So I'm in KV core at this point. I'm going to go to marketing. I'm going to go to smart campaigns. Now, what I want to do is I want to build a smart campaign, and I actually already have a smart campaign put into place. Looks something exactly like this, and I'm going to call this COI new as my smart campaign, but I need to make some templates, and I need to make some tasks, because these are all tasks. So first thing I'll do is I'm just going to copy all this. So I've got that copied down. I'm currently in my campaigns. I need to build my templates out first, and I'm going to add them to a campaign. So in doing so, I'll go here, and this is going to be a task. And if I'm going to search, I'd search in here. I am actually going to search. Let me show you what this one looks like. So I added a bunch in. And you'll notice that they're already in place. But how I added them is I went to add template, and I went to a task template. I put the name, which in this case, I think you can see it below, it was COI new day one. I put that here. I put that as the title. Oh, can't do it that way. Let's pretend I put them in. And then I pasted just like this, task, text somebody. I'm going to add that template. I won't add them. But what I've got now is I've got all my templates in here. And I've got the day 1 through 7 through 14 through 21, 10. They're all in here ready to go. Go back to my campaigns. Now in my campaign, oops, shouldn't have day. There's my COI new edition. Now, if I didn't have one, I'd add a campaign. I've already added one. And on this page right here, there's a document that goes through how you're adding and what you want to do. I can go through it. You won't remember it, but for our conversation, well, screw it. Let's just take a look at it. So it's going to be a new lead. If I want to put a hashtag in there, I would have a hashtag. I'm not applying that yet. I apply those hashtags in my next step. I don't always want it to run because I'm going to personally apply it to the new lead I put in this new campaign. Buyer or seller, as I told you before, I like to nomenclature mine. I want them to be sellers. That's just me. This is the next step. The details of the campaign, put in your information, the name of the campaign, and then what is the purpose of this so you can get to it. It's already set up for all, not running all the time. Then there's the review. Now, in doing so, this is my campaign. So in this campaign, populate, I'm going to add an action. And it's a task. And it's a template. I'm looking for day 1. Remember I created my template. COI new, day 1. Do I run it immediately? Yes, this is an immediate. This is day 1. So it's as soon as I apply this, it goes into play. See how that's in there and it's immediate? That is not the right name for it. It's actually this one right up here that I did already. So I'm going to delete this one, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to add day 2. Is it day 2? I'm going to add day 2. So I'm going to add a task. I'm going to add a template. Day 2. Nope, that didn't work out. Okay, day 2, I didn't populate. I'm going to pretend I add day 7 in there. Same thing, run immediately. The answer is no on this one. I'm going to take it out. 7 days. So this will actually run 7 days after I start this. Then I'm going to click add. You'll notice you can see that in here, it's day 7 is when it starts. If it's COI 2, I did have it in there. So I had the right one. I just didn't read right. I need to edit that. So I'm going to change that from 7 to 2. You'll notice the second day, it's going to run this one. That is all you have to do to create a template. It is done for you, or everything's written properly. All of this is copy and paste in the task, put them in there, name the template, put it into play, then you create an action plan. You first figure out what you're going to put, then you add your template, then you add that to an action plan. That, in a nutshell, will get you it's ready for you. It's already done. You need to put it in there. Now, I want to give you one more trick that is, I think, really, really important. On the 23rd of every month, I want you to put in your database or in your calendar or some form of reminder, whatever you use, that your monthly postcard and your monthly email are due in 5 days. Start looking for the property and the topics for your update email. Now, why we do that is that we have a monthly email that goes out to everybody. This is part of our database management. We send out an email that's an update about us. It will get ignored for the first month or two because we're not deeply in relationship. But if we're having conversations with people about themselves, about them first and foremost, and almost exclusively about them, getting an email sent from us is an update of what's going on in our world with there's a whole template for it. It's already explained how to do it. They will start to look at that. The return rate, the open rate on those are astronomical. The more you're interested in them, the more they're interested in you. It is the law of reciprocity. Once a month, we send out a postcard that is a just sold postcard. The template is available for you already. It looks something just like this. Now, the postcard, as I said, the template is available in the previous class that we taught. That postcard goes out once a month, and it's your only thing that we really cover on a regular basis about sales. That is our evidence of success. Hey, we sold another home. Yay. And they sort it over the trash can, but they now know. Remember social media? 4 posts, 3 or 4 posts that are about you, personal or humor. 1 post about success in real estate. And it's not, hey, I just sold a home for, I love helping my clients because I make so much money. I had so much fun finding the perfect home for my friends who are family, or this family who is now a good friend of mine. I love the fact that I was able to make a difference. Okay, now that I want to read about, that defines who you are as a person. It's all part of the other database, but that's going to be part of what you're going to do as well. Folks, you now know how to add them. If you were in the other class, and if not, there's an entire, in the GPS Global Partners, which is My Morning Mindset. It's been changed a little bit. There's an entire class on database, on how to do exactly what we just spoke of. This is the new edition, what you guys just got. All right. Well, I hope that helped. Go out and take over, man. You guys got this. Anybody, what questions, anything we can add or talk about? Joe, what was the date of the last class? I think you got it. There you go. He sent the YouTube link. Joe, you're on fire, man. Appreciate that. All right, guys, it's Tuesday. It's what, the 4th?
Hey, George.
Yeah.
Hey, it's TJ.
Hey, TJ.
Question for you. The database class and the My Morning Mindset, is that updated? Or how recent is that?
It was when it was made originally, but I give you the foundations for what we're doing.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. You got it. One other thing I wanted to share with y'all. So I'm still in my CRM. I do this on my phone. I do not do this on my computer. And I go COI, which is my centers of influence. You can store them up here, so they're easy to find. But what I'm looking for is hashtag for COI. So I'm searching through my entire database for hashtag for centers of influence. So I need to call, actually, this is Jackie. She'll be calling Terry. She'll be calling Mary Orr. Oh, we love Mary. She's great. Fernandez is one of my calls today. Vevi, I got to give Vevi a call as well. And that's Jackie too. So Jackie's got most of it. I just have 2 that I have to call today. Now, this is on my phone as well, and that's actually where I do it. And my conversations that I have with them, my database conversations, are something referring to their notes. And I'll use Will just because he popped up on my screen. Dude, your name popped up on my phone. Wanted to give you a shout. How you doing? By the way, that Christmas picture of you and your family was absolutely phenomenal, Will. I love that. What a great photo. Did you guys get that done by a friend or was it, professional or something? And then we're going to have a conversation about Will. Y'all get it? It's not in depth. It's not high end. Now, here's the cool part. This is just a little sidebar with this, is you're building this. This will support your real estate business. But as you're building this out, as you go through the process and you're like, wow, I just had an amazing conversation. I am hoping that everybody is comfortable writing a note. You've got their address. If you had if Will and I had a conversation that went on for, I don't know, like 5 or 6 minutes or 10 minutes, and it was a good conversation. It just got a little better. I'm going to write him a thank you note. So Will, you know what? I just, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I really enjoyed our conversation. And that tip on XYZ was brilliant. I'm going to drop it in the mail because I've got his address. He's going to open that up. He's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Anybody here, show of hands, get a thank you note, a handwritten thank you note where you're like, wow, that's just righteously awesome. It makes a big difference. There's a bunch of you that are young. I promise you, years ago, we actually had to do that. That's how we communicated. We put it in the mail and it would show up a week or two later. Okay, Kristen, I'm looking at you. You don't have a clue what I'm talking about. By the way, when you take mail, you can take it to this building that's called a post office, and people live in that building and they take it from you and then they mail it out. And this, for those that don't know, this is a stamp. Okay. Right to you, Kristen. I know how old you are. Guys, it makes such a difference. A handwritten note, it's huge. Remember, your job is to take what we're giving you and make it better. Remember and I say this all the time, that every one of you has the potential to do everything amazing. You're going to, if you say, I'm going to dig into this, this is what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to make this one of my lead generation strategies. I guarantee you it is nowhere good enough for you right now. I guarantee you that once you get into it, you start putting it into play, you're going to find ways to make it better. And as long as you continue to strive towards awesome and don't take away the redundancies of having it where it's automated, systematized, you know what you're going to do, you can take what is, I hope, good and turn it into something that is great. And it's going to be all from you, and it's going to be genuine, and it's going to explode your business. And here is the secret you have to get. It won't happen overnight. This is a long game, but it is the one that will support you. All of you, everybody on this call right now, and then I'm going to turn you loose. I want you to do one thing. If you're able to, if you're driving, definitely do. I'm kidding. Just kind of close your eyes for a second. Seriously, no shame. No, I'm dead serious. Everybody close your eyes for a second. I want you to go forward a year and a half, even 2 years. I want you to recall, because we're now into January of 2024, last 3 months, where you got to spend as much time as you wanted with your families. You did get a vacation in there, and the leads kept coming in. And you closed 12 transactions in the last quarter of 2023. And it didn't cost you anything. These were your database. And you're looking back on when you started this in 2022 and where it slowly started to trickle in. And now you're at a place where your entire business is people that know you, love you, and refer you. And your job every day is to wake up and make them feel great about themselves and let them know that you love them and support them. And every day you get up and you call 5, 6 people and just tell them that they're amazing. And they keep referring people to you, and you are their recognition. You are their source of real estate related information. Over that time, you've grown to have this amazing arsenal of wonderful vendors to refer them. So you've really been the conduit for so many of your friends for what's needed. And your business is 30 or 40 closings this year, and you can do it on vacation. You're surrounded by partners who will gladly take that lead and run it for you because you are taking a week or two going to Italy with your family, and it's paid for, and it's first class. And you've done that because you focused on your real estate business, but more importantly, you focused on the people that matter. And they in turn have repaid you by loyalty, by referring friends, by being grateful that you care enough about them. Okay, open your eyes. It starts today. And I promise you, that's where it ends up. Don't be satisfied with good, though. Make it great. Brianna, I'm looking at you and I'm doing this. I appreciate you committing to that. But I guarantee you there's great in you and you got to find it. And for everybody else on this call, the same thing. Now, on a slightly different level of energy, damn glad to be back with y'all and have this year start off right. This is the beginning of what will be awesome. We'll be doing these mastermind workshops every single day. It is our committed passion to bring better, awesome, amazing calls to you that help you find a way to build your business one step at a time. And for all of you out there, remember, every time you're on one of these calls, every time you're on a mastermind, first off, share it with your friends. Okay. There's enough out there for all of us. I don't give a damn what brokerage they're with. Invite them in if they're interested in the topic, have them come join you. But what I want you guys to consider more than anything is that you need to find one thing that's actionable in this and then apply it to your business. Make sure that every day you're moving it forward 1%. Your business will increase over the course of the first quarter, which is what, 90 days, about 100%. Imagine your business that actually gets your focus. Y'all can do this. Tiffany?
Piggybacking off of the masterminds, I wanted to shout out tomorrow's mastermind because we have Jessica Baskey's hosting, and we're talking about how to create a stream of leads through niche real estate. And then second piggyback is, I think I fixed the calendar on My Morning Mindset, guys.
Outstanding. You mean
So
GPS Global Partners?
Yes, well, I'm old habits
for it.
die hard, but I'm fairly sure now, because privacy settings, that's why you guys couldn't see the calendar, but I could, but it should be updated now so that you can see as soon as George and I know what the topic is, we update the calendar so that you guys can see what's going to be coming out that month. So that's all.
Do me a favor, Joe, if you would drop in there Chris Bear's class in there one more time. If y'all are able to do this and attend to this one, you want to go to this 2-day workshop. I will be there. I cannot wait. And the link will be put in there if you want to check it out. I'm gonna finish with what I always do. Go out there and tell somebody you love them. Tell them that they're important, that they matter. And if you haven't figured it out, that is database 101. It's having conversations with people that you care about, that ideally are going to care about you and making a difference in their lives by letting them know that they're important and they have real value. Now, here's the cool part about doing that. You never know when it's exactly the right time. Almost every one of us have probably experienced a call or a communication from a friend that came at just the right time when we were feeling a little bit low or didn't hold our value as high as we probably should. So go out there and build somebody up. And that is what I do every single day. That's the morning I want you to consider. Brianna, for you, we're just doing this for your morning. Your morning is, I want you to find 5 or 6 people systematically, or 3 or 4. And your job is to call them and make sure that you know that they're important, that they matter, and that you care about them, and then ask them and be interested in what's going on in their world. How hard is it? Is there anybody here who doesn't like people so much that they can't call and tell a couple friends that they really matter, that they're important? Every single one of you can. And that's our job on a daily basis. Oh, here's the ugly little secret too. Let's say you don't get around to it today. That's okay. There'll be a 4th of the month next month. So perhaps you don't speak to them 12 times, but only 11. Or better yet, I want to take a weekend off. Great. You may have to invest an extra 30 minutes on Friday and 30 minutes on Monday to make up for the people you didn't call. I do this 7 days a week because I love it and it's fun. And that's the job. It's fun. And if I miss a couple of days, I'll go back and I'll make some calls. I can tell by my notes. So I just showed you how to search that. You can do it on your phone as well. And I can't figure out how to hook my phone up. I'll maybe make that a priority today. But I use my phone and I just search my contacts, COI, hashtag COI or for COI. And I know that's who I got to call today. I do it when I'm driving. I do it anywhere I can. Great is right in front of you. Go get it. Have an amazing day. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Great topics for tomorrow. If you like this, do me a favor. Post this on social media on your personal page. I just had the most awesome, whatever it is that describes it. We're working on something where you can actually place, we'll get it. I'm working on it right now, where we'll actually write it for you, what the class was about, kind of a summary. We'll send it to you in email. You can post it on your social media. It'll have an image to pull up. So you don't have to overthink it. But if you want it, all you're going to have to do, there'd be a poll that pops up. Just type in your email address and we'll email this out to you. We're working on it. It'll be another week or two. Joe, if you haven't figured it out, that was the call this morning we were going to talk about, but we'll be doing that as a team so that you can actually post a live summary of that class to your social media very easily. And it's not a sales pitch. It's going to be more just about what you're doing. The reason for that is people want to know. People want to know if something's powerful. And then if they can join, by all means, have them join. It's a lot of fun when people are here. Go have an amazing day. God bless you guys. Thank you for being with me. Got a couple minutes of after party. Where'd she go? Rainey, you're at the wrong place. You know where you need to be. Get there right now. All right, get there. You got to go to the orientation.